it was like that back and forth that I kept feeling like, why, like a couple years ago, if you would have said something about like one of the cats passing away, I highly doubt that I'd be like, no, I'm going to be emotional about this. Like I'll be more emotional for Jackie. But that last ride up to the vet, I was like, man, like I just had him on my lap and he's looking around and looking outside and stuff. Like this is the first time he's ever been able to ride like this in the cars. We knew when we got him in the carrier. And he got to the point where he was just like content and he just chilled. And it was almost like he gave us the okay, like you can just read him, and it definitely brings out a different side of it.
This is the Stxhes Podcast. Everybody, thank you so much for coming in. We've got Brandon, Philip, Gene, Dwayne, and myself, Donnie. Thanks for tuning in.
You're like, I can't take this shit no more. I'm out. Like, okay. You was out for the weekend, right?
You just come out and give just 12 points, 8 assists, 6 rebounds, and 2 turnovers. We win the game. That's how it is.
I see folks and like, oh man, that's old folks stuff. I'm like, damn, am I getting old? Like he would watch.
I'm damn near a gangster in real life, you know what I'm saying? But no.
Good, man.
I'm good, man.
You getting any sleep?
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, I try and stay up until like, I don't know, like 1:30 or so. So I just got the little baby monitor down in the basement. So if I see him getting up, I know she's gonna feed him. And then by the time she finishes feeding him, I run up and meet her at the door so I can grab him and go change him so she can go back to sleep. So
yeah,
it's been it really hasn't been too bad the last couple of weeks because he's actually starting to get into like a decent sleeping schedule for the most part. I know he's gonna get up at like 3 or 5 or something like that, but at least Jackie can sleep from like 9 till 12 or something.
Yeah. How's work going for you?
It's going.
Yeah.
Work has just been tough because it's been so much turnover that it's nothing but new people that's there. It's kind of like going back to square one when a lot of things that you're already on the same page with the office and stuff like that, so they know, how I operate and scheduling and all that stuff. And then it's going back to the small issues and stuff like that, like not putting it through the system the right way or something like that. And I'm the only one that's probably been with the company for longer than a year, and I'm coming up on 7 next month. So it's a learning curve there for a lot of people. So I'm just, trying to ease back into things after a month away.
Yeah, I hear you, man. You're gonna be tested professionally and personally with, at least from my experience, having a lack of sleep. Your mental focus is elsewhere when you're at work because you're worried about baby, the family, Jackie, and everything. But just continue to fight through it. And I'm like, man, I don't know how some folks do it. But then when you're down, I actually literally said this to Jackie earlier today. Like when you're down or going through a moment, just think of the kids. Think of why you're doing this. It just gives you a whole different motivation. Tired is nothing. Pain is weakness leaving the body. So I'm like, man, this is tougher than training camp for me. And I'm like,
Right.
and morning workouts and stuff. Like, man, that's a cakewalk. And I wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah, I mean, you come home and I come up the stairs and he's sitting there just looking at me, and I'm like, it don't even matter what happened, And to him, he don't really care about anything anyway. So it's nice to pick him up, and even when you're tired or whatever, I get him over to his changing table and he starts like smiling or something. And I'm like, you know what you're doing right now.
Yeah.
It's all
Good
worthwhile.
times. Don, what's up, man?
What's up, fellas?
What's going on?
Talking
Like
about
that
the
shirt.
Yeah, I dig it too. Pulled it out of the archive. I hadn't seen it in a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, can't get enough of the kids, man. I was down there today and picked them up for the first day of school. It's awesome. I mean, you can't speak about it enough. Like seeing their personalities develop and all that, and seeing the relationships that they continue to have with teachers and their friends and all that stuff, it just makes you proud. You can't help it. You can't help but smile. Hearing their stories and stuff, it's cool.
Most definitely. Yeah, Maya had her first day of first grade today. She was a little apprehensive, but by the end of it, she had a great day, made some new friends. That's what it's all about.
Good.
So yeah, man. But with the ups in life, there are always, some downs that kind of counterbalance us. I know, Phil, you've gone through something recently. I understand it's tough. I went through the same thing, believe it or not. Well, not believe it or not, it was back in January, but the other believe it or not piece to it is I felt some kind of way because we actually lost a pet here too. So we had
recently?
Yeah, and it's it puts things in perspective, and that's why I was going to ask, but I didn't know if you were willing to, because Mr. Charles Winston was Charles Winston third. Having him around a lot longer, but we had went to the Montgomery County Fair, agricultural fair, and won a goldfish, and had the whole setup and all that stuff, and it lasted about a week, but that pain was still felt, by me to a degree, but more so Maya. That was her, her Goldie.
Mm-hmm.
But you care to share, what you're going through or how you're bouncing back, how he affected you? That a lot of folks don't understand how animals impact your life.
I mean, now we had to put down our cat this past week. He was 17 years old, and he basically gave us another month, because he was in bad shape. Don was actually at the house, and he was chilling with us and hanging out with Prince and everything, and Jackie came running up the stairs with him in her arms, like he was outside in the mulch, just like lethargic, not doing anything. I was just like, what do we got to do? We just jump in the car, drive down to Towson, and it took a couple of days before he actually got back to kind of seeming like himself. But then a couple of weeks go by, and it was just the last couple of days right before we had to put him down. Like Jackie was just preparing. It was just spend as much time as you can with him because you don't really know. One of these days it's coming because he's starting to get weaker and stuff like that. And the night before we put him down, he came into the living room like he always did, jumped up on the couch, and I'm sitting there playing video games, and he just lays on my chest. It's he always sit an inch from my face. His face is right in my face the whole time. And we were not pet people like that. Growing up, we didn't have a bunch of, I had a ferret and some hamsters and stuff. But my wife is the vet tech, and I get into the relationship with no pets. She got 2 cats, 2 dogs, a horse, and all this other stuff. And me and Charlie were not that close. We've been together 10 years, so we weren't close for about 8 of them. So he was just he was very protective of Jackie and protective of the house and everything. And then overnight we got married, and all of a sudden we became so tight. It was just a weird transition, but then it became a jealousy thing. He wouldn't hang out with Jackie as much. He would just always be sleeping on my chest and everything. So it was by the time you see it coming, there's a 17-year-old cat, you know it's gonna come, but it's seeing them is the exact same way that you would see your grandmother or your parents or something. You see them start to go downhill, and you just feel for them. You want to take that pain off of them, but you can't do anything. And the whole day knowing that we were going to take them down to the vet and finally say our last goodbyes and stuff, it was just I'm going to estimates, talking to him for an hour, get back in the car, riding silently, just thinking. It's just how different the household feels when that's not going to happen anymore, and the things that you take for granted and all that. But he's definitely missed. We put a little bird bath out front where we buried him, and so it's kind of nice to be able to walk out every day and see that little reminder and everything. But you know, we used to, it was almost like we were duking it out. Like I'd sit there on my chair and he'd come up and would just like mess with me. like a cat with no teeth, no claws or anything like that, like, but was super aggressive. And finally I just got to the point I was just like, it's just like a silent respect here. He swiped at me, I pushed him back and he came back to me. And from that point forward, we were just tight. So no, it's been it was a rough couple of days. It definitely affected me for a couple of days, and I thought I was prepared for it because we already dealt with it for a month prior. But the reality of it and not seeing him come back and 1 o'clock in the morning coming in and jumping in on my chest on the bed and stuff like that. So it's we're definitely getting there. But Jackie had him for 17 years. So as bad as I feel for as close as we got for 2 years, I'm always mindful of that. The fact that she lost what she calls her guardian angel. And I said the same thing to him. Like, he taught me patience. He slowed me down, like to have a cat laying on your chest. You can't really do too much else but just feel the love that is given you. So it was nice to be able to just chill and have something truly slow me down and get me prepped for a newborn coming in. So I thanked him multiple times for it. I know he ain't gonna say nothing back, but I was just like, just thank you for everything that you provided. And it felt like now he passed the torch over to me to be the protector of the house and everything, as I got his approval after all these years. Old Charlie Winston. But yeah, RIP. We ain't gonna replace him just yet. We're gonna wait until he comes back in a different form or something. We find another cat that reminds us of him, or a dog, whatever it would be. But he's definitely gonna be missed. And Don, Don, you had to put down Puma as well, didn't you?
Oh yeah, it's a gut-wrenching moment, and that's the thing. I don't even think I was prepared for it because he was just always there. And that's the thing. It's like if you've never had a pet, for anybody that's never had a pet, you'll never really understand that dynamic. No matter how much they drove you crazy initially when you first came to the house, whether you wanted them or not or any of that, the animal just grows this other part of you that you didn't even realize you needed. Mm-hmm. Like, animals just have this innate sense of knowing when you're sad, knowing when you're happy, just having this sixth sense. And it's awesome. It's really, really cool. And then to see them lose so much of their ability, so much of their physical ability and stuff like that, or being able to communicate with you like they have for most of their relationship, it's gut-wrenching. Mm-hmm. Puma had feline leukemia, and he could barely walk. He couldn't get up and down stairs, and it was like overnight when it finally took him. And we kept taking him back and forth to the vet and giving him all these different medications and stuff, and he'd be fine for a couple of weeks. And then at the end of those couple of weeks, he was drooling, he was laying on the ground, he couldn't move. And that selfish part of me was just like, can you keep fighting? Can you get to the other side of this? Maybe there's something that these doctors can do, whatever. And finally realized that we were just putting him through a lot more than what he deserved at that point. And we had to put him down because it was just getting worse. It is the absolute worst feeling. And I'm just glad that the kids got to be around when they were little, because that was like their first experience with any type of pets or animals or anything like that. And Puma was awesome. It was a great first pet for them. So couldn't be more thankful. It was an awesome relationship.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot of lessons that you learn from having a pet. It comes down to responsibility, caring, loving. There's so many. The list goes on. And that's what some folks, within the immediate family don't understand the importance or the impact rather that a pet may have on an individual. It's, talking to my dad, he said it, saved the marriage, saved him, there's a lot of things that pets, like you were saying, have that instinct just understand like what you need at that particular point in time. He would always joke, a dog is, they say, his man's best friend because you can come home, fuss, whatever, bam, 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 and yell at them. They still gonna love you unconditionally, right? But it's tough. After hearing about that, it's just reflecting on Conway and the impact he had, and it's kind of bittersweet because he got had a few months with Cam and Amaya. Amaya got to hang out a little longer, but Cam, he was a protector of Cam too, so he's still here in spirit, and that's all that matters right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's like it's just like a weird thing because I got asked by one of my coworkers probably like a year or two ago. He was like, we would just talk on the phone about like whatever came up, and a lot of like deeper conversations came up, and he was always like he asked me the questions like, are you a dog person or a cat person? And I'm like, yeah, I'm a dog person. I love dogs. Like that, we came up, there's always dogs around and stuff. The cats always kind of did their own thing, and I'll never forget. He kind of like hesitated, didn't say anything. Like he just like paused, and he was like, "Oh, okay, all right." And in my head, I didn't understand why he was pausing. But then I said the same thing to Jackie, and she was like, "You're an indoor cat person." I was like, I guess it makes a lot more sense now that I really thought about it though, because it's just like the way that they and Charlie was indoor, outdoor, he could do whatever he wanted. But I knew at the end of the day, as soon as he saw me come in, he was like at my hip. But when I said that I was a dog person, I didn't really think about like what that actually entailed, because it's like the independence of a cat is and like the way that they just chill, and you're not really like constantly like have like not force, but like needing to take them outside and get the energy out and do all these different things, and begging for food and all that. The cat's just there chilling, and if you're not there, they're gonna go do their own thing or whatever. So to get them to actually want to chill with you when you want to chill with them, it's totally up to the cat. So it was like it made me feel like maybe I have to be giving off some sort of different vibe or something that's gotten him to change suit, because Charlie would like I don't want to say he terrorized the dogs or anything like that, but like if the dogs were barking too much or going crazy, they were all excited because Jackie got home, you'd hear Charlie and he'd be sitting up on the steps like yelling at him type of thing, and he'd always be watching over him. He was just so protective of Jackie. So I had to protect him by the time he got older, because he would still go after the dogs and stuff like that. But now I was like, yeah, I guess I really am a cat person in that regard. So it was like that back and forth that I kept feeling like, why, like a couple years ago, if you would have said something about like one of the cats passing away, I highly doubt that I'd be like, no, I'm going to be emotional about this. Like I'll be more emotional for Jackie. But that last ride up to the vet, I was like, man, like I just had him on my lap and he's looking around and looking outside and stuff. Like this is the first time he's ever been able to ride like this in the cars. We knew when we got him in the carrier, and he got to the point where he was just like content and he just chilled. And it was almost like he gave us the okay, like you can just read him, and it definitely brings out a different side of it, so I don't. The other cat we got, like she's always on me, but she's young and she's energetic and she's ripping stuff up and everything. Charlie was just like, if you're chilling, I'm chilling, so I'm definitely gonna miss that, and I don't know if we do get another cat or another dog that shares that same personality. It's not like I really want somebody another pet to replace it, because like you said, like they're always here. I still think about them all the time and everything, and you still think they're gonna walk around the corner. So I'm like, it's not gonna happen, but I just appreciate the good times and how it helped me develop as a person. What do you have any pets right now, Dwayne?
I'm bad. I'm trying to work this mute button. No, not at the moment. Yeah. Looking to get something. Potentially, may end up getting another dog. Jackie's uncle has 2 puppies down in North Carolina, so it's potential that we may end up with one and or both of them. So I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, can't replace them.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I didn't want at all. I didn't. I mean, I wasn't expecting to get Puma in the first place because she'd gotten him when we got our first apartment together, and I wasn't expecting that kind of responsibility and stuff right out of the gate. But then when we got the second cat, you had I had these kind of like expectations because we've already kind of been around the block or whatever with growing like a rescue cat and that was young and all that. And it's just appreciating who they are, just like you would another human being, because they are really different, but both cats were super smart. So they adapt. They've gotten to know and love each person in the family. They run to the door when you come home, just like a dog would or whatever else. They have this way of talking when they want something, whether it's food or whether it's a toy, whether they lay on you, whatever. Like, it's just really dope. It's not, you're not replacing them. You can't. It's impossible to replace that character, that little being. But to get to know another one doesn't fill the hole, but it helps. It most definitely helps. It gives you another chapter to look forward to, a whole bunch of new adventures to look forward to. It's cool.
Yeah, Jackie got back from, well, I was heading over to drop off, and somebody bought a Jeep, like a G.I. Joe Jeep. So I was going over to FedEx to drop it off, and I passed Jackie and her friend doing their walk, and her friend has this like miniature pit bull. Like it had something, it was like basically like a runt of a pit bull. She was like, "Hey, she's fully grown." I'm like, if I said yes in that moment, we would have another pit bull at that point. Like if she's trying to find a home for him, but for her, I was just like, it almost felt like there's only so much love to go around, because like you start to, for me especially having like a newborn, it's like Charlie. I posted the one video of him kept like hitting my hand while I was messing with Prince, and it was like that guilty feeling as soon as he's just like, all right, forget it, and he just jumped off the couch and walked away or whatever. It's like there really is, he still has to be the priority in that situation. And it was like it made me feel so guilty not being able to spend time with Charlie, especially knowing that our time is going to be limited with him. But it is a thing of how much love you're able to give around. And I think it's like a responsibility as a pet owner to truly make sure that the short time that they get to spend on this earth is maximized for them. It's not like we kind of came up in a way that it's like it's a clear definition that this is a pet and they're not paying bills. We're doing our own thing or whatever. By the end of the day, we got to make sure there's food on the table and everything. And then dating Jackie, who's like the complete opposite of the spectrum, like dropping a bunch of money anytime that the dogs need something, surgery, or Charlie used to fight other cats in the neighborhood and he'd have his battle wounds and stuff, have to take him in and get him fixed up. It's not even like a second guess that it doesn't matter what the cost is, we're gonna take care of him. And that just opened my eyes to like what it truly means to be an owner of a pet. Like she being in the vet field, it's like she's seeing people come in and put their dogs down because they got to get a tooth extracted. Like, what were you expecting when you bring this this animal into your household and they only get to live for 8 to 10 years or whatever it is, and you're putting them down? Like, it's just years ago, I don't know if I'd be in the same, but I wouldn't have the heart to. Like, putting him down was such a crazy experience, sitting there as they're injecting the whatever it is, and sitting there petting him, talking to him and stuff like that, and the other nurse comes in and checks his heart. He's gone. That's like, man, it was tough. It was. I knew it was gonna be tough, and like the day I was kind of like procrastinating away, like I really don't want to have to go do this, but I want to make sure that I'm there for this situation. And luckily, it wasn't like I came home and he was just like out in the backyard, passed away. like be there to comfort him throughout the whole thing, you know. But yeah, it's just gonna take time, you know. It's just gonna take time, but yeah, we're in a better place. I feel like Prince is definitely a big help in the whole thing, because no matter how you're feeling, still got him. You know, you still got him. He's still healthy. He's happy, and you know, and he only has us. You know, he's in a brand new world, scared, don't know what's going on. He only has us to depend on. So, you know, it's not like you don't really have time to be down and out. You know, you just perk right up as soon as you see him.
True story. True story. Boy, that was a tougher subject than I thought it was gonna be.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
It's all good.
it's definitely it's good to talk about it with you guys, and you know, and I hope like whoever, you know, if anybody watches it, one person watches this or whatever, like I know, especially being a male, black males at that, you know, talking about like being down about an animal passing away, there's going to be a lot of people like we know, even in the family, that don't truly understand that concept. Like my mom, she's going to feel for us because you know she understands that we're close and everything, but like she's never. I don't know if they had a dog growing up or anything, but she's never the one that's gonna want to have a dog or a cat or anything like that. And then she comes over to the house and sees how our pets are and everything, and she loves them. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure she can't truly wrap her head around exactly what it feels like and everything. She's just gonna be there because she knows that I'm down or that Jackie's down about it. But you know, I'm sure that it's gonna still hit home with a lot of people. You know, everybody's had, not everybody, but most people have had to go through that experience of losing a pet that you've grown close with, and that's part of your life. You know, it's just part of like the norm on a day-to-day basis. And you shake that up, yeah, you don't even know, up is up, down is down, and everything. It's like trying to get used to the new norm, and it's just tough. But like I said, we've definitely been rebounding, and then you get those moments, something that reminds you of them or something like that, and it brings you right back. But I'm at the point now that I can actually like smile about it. Like when I think of something that reminds me of them, I'm just like, oh Charlie, man, that's my little man, man. But you know, I'm just grateful. You know, it's just a feeling now.
Yeah. No, and it's beyond just having a pet. You know, these are lessons that you can, or that can be applied to any situation where it comes to moving on to the next chapter, next life, whatever it may be, whatever folks believe in. But now you definitely learn a lot about yourself, learn a lot about your circle, and you fight through it. But
Yeah, I mean, I'm not proud of it at all. It actually it hurts. I feel like I neglected him in that moment. And I think that kind of connects with a lot of other parts of my life where I feel like I've let people down. And I feel like in that moment of not being strong enough to take him to the vet, to look him in the eye and say, I think this is the end of the road for you. And this person's going to help me end your pain, killed me. That was one of the and that's what I'm saying. If a person's never owned a pet, they'll never really understand. But like I got so close to that daggone cat, and it sounds crazy, but I had a terrible time letting him go. It was horrible. Like it was like I couldn't stop like just falling apart. And I did my best to talk to the kids because they were tiny when it was happening. Like to see Puma falling apart like that, to not see Puma bouncing around and running around the house and that kind of stuff, they didn't understand it. But to see my grief, like in this just raw form, I think shook them up a little bit. And it was a lot. It took a toll on me. It's something that I will never forget. And seeing that cross out in the yard or whatever, like, morbid or not, that was like his little memorial or whatever. And it hurts, but at the same time, I'm just so glad that he wasn't in any more pain, because I know he was in a lot of pain.
I mean, do you think you would do anything differently though?
Nope. And I that's the one thing I don't regret, is like, I think I let it go on too long. Like, I kept struggling with letting him go, and then keep going back to the vet, and the vet's looking at me like, we can keep doing this if you want. He might turn a corner. Like, he was never 100% like, oh, this is gonna work. And I just took whatever hope I could get. Again, to Duano's point, yeah, it's a lot to learn in those truly tough times. Even when it's a pet, even when it's not a human family member, it's a feline family member. Like, it's brutal. That attachment turns to a detachment is just absolutely tough to deal with.
Yeah. I mean, I remember when we took him down to Towson, it was like as soon as he left the room with the nurse, we just didn't know what was going on. And then we did all these tests and stuff like that, and we couldn't figure out, like, they couldn't figure out what was going on, bring him home. Since Jackie works with the one vet, it was like we took home the like the bag and everything that he was hooked up to on like an IV all night and on a machine. But it was like the second that they took him out of the room, the whole time it was like time just like stopped. And I don't even know how long they actually had him out of the room, but it was just like, come back in with good news, come back in with good news, you know. And then that long drive home, and every time he would do anything, you're sitting there watching, like trying to make sure he doesn't like go outside, because I feel like there's a lot of animals that'll just, when they're ready to go, they'll go and find a spot to themselves, and they'll, you know, just pass. So it was like, I feel you on that, because I guarantee if I would have let him jump off the couch and go outside, we weren't sure if we were going to see him again. So it's like we had to keep him in a cage until he got back on his feet and everything. But then the second you get him on his feet, he wants to go outside. And then it got to the point where it's just like, all right, well, if he wants to go outside, let him go chill on the porch. Let him go and do his thing, because that's what he wants to do. It's not about what we want to do. You know, he gave us, 17 years. At this point, it's like I'm all about quality of life. And like I said before, fortunately, we got the opportunity to take him up and put him down before it got to the point where he just couldn't function, or, couldn't eat or anything like that. But, once they get to the point that they're like lethargic, and it's like, it's not even the same animal anymore or anything, it's like, okay, I get it. But there's family members that I didn't go and see. Like, I'd see them in the hospital, but then when it came to the point where it's like, even grandpa, I'll say that too. Like, I went and visited grandpa a couple of times, but then it got to the point where my mom was like, I think it's about time. And the last time I saw him, it didn't feel like it was the same person anymore. And it just tore me up. Like, it took me forever to even get out to the car afterwards, like just getting down the hallways and stuff. And I don't know if it is like a selfish thing that's like, I don't want to see them in a bad spot, but that back and forth, and you're going to regret not seeing him. But at the same time, I wanted to see him at his best. I wanted to see him at least like functional and able to understand what was going on and stuff like that. But like I said, like, that was the first time ever truly being there when someone or a pet like truly passed away. Like, watching that process and everything was definitely rough. But I am glad to have gone through that experience. It's definitely changed me and everything. But I get it. I get it. Having her take him down and get him put down instead of you going down, I totally understand it. It doesn't hurt any less not seeing it. It just means that you had that much shorter of a time. Like, you missed out on what, like 45 minutes or whatever that is. It's not going to change the memories that you had of them or anything. It's still the same. But I totally understand that though.
Well, boy, but thinking about it, like I said, in terms of lessons learned, I think as fathers, that's something that we need to discuss on the future talk. But how are we setting our loved ones up for success, prosperity once we leave? Now you're the protector, as you said. Charlie's gone, right? That's how you feel. You're the protector, so you got to protect little man, Jackie, the house. But how are you setting yourself up to ensure that they're still protected when it's all said and done?
Yeah, we definitely got a lot to go over in that. Definitely got a lot.
Yeah.
Boy, oh boy, don't we got a lot.
All right, well, Don, you want to wrap us up?
You got me. I was just getting ready. Oh man, thank you so much for tuning in to the Stxhes Podcast. Always greatly appreciated. Looking forward to seeing your comments, DMs, however you want to reach out. Dueno, Philip, myself, Donnie, we appreciate it. See you next time.
All right, fellas.
All right, love y'all.
Love
Later.
you too. Night.